At this point, Jonathan is really doing too much. I don't even see a future in this marriage if Jonathan continues manipulating everybody to go against his wife, Clara. Now, Clara's child is against the mother. Also, Clara's mother is also against her. And for the first time, Hans is raising his voice on Clara, and he cannot even help it because all he has ever done is to love Clara. Jonathan, what do you really want to achieve in all of this? To send everybody away from Clara? Do you think that is going to save your marriage? Now the family has become a battlefield where the husband slaps the wife and the wife slaps the husband. They fight even in public. What kind of example are you setting for your child? I think the best thing that Hans has to do right now is to sack Jonathan so that he can go out there and look for a job elsewhere. Maybe then he will realize that he has an opportunity, but because he was listening to Dan's bad advice, he missed it. Clara might end up leaving this marriage because at this point, she's beginning to feel like she made a mistake marrying Jonathan. At first, she thought she knew Jonathan, but right now, Jonathan is beginning to show her another side that she never know anything about. And that is why her friends say, you only know a poor man when he's rich and a rich man when he's poor. Let's take it one after the other. So after what happened on the last episode, Clara had to call Hans' secretary to find out what exactly transpired between her husband and Hans. Remember that Clara did not find out whether what the husband said about Hans is true. She immediately went to Hans' house and slapped him in front of the mother. Now she wants to really find out if what he said is true. And then she later discovered from Hans' secretary that the husband was lying all along. In fact, the husband lied that Hans slapped him and threw him out of the office. Hans is not a bad person. The only thing I see Hans doing right now is trying to help Clara because Clara has actually sacrificed a lot for Hans. And it will be so unfair to meet Clara in this kind of situation and not help her because Clara has actually been a good person to Hans. When Clara got all this information from her secretary, she immediately went to Hans' company just to meet up with the husband. But a shocking thing happened here. When Clara got there and the husband Jonathan came out, Clara immediately slapped the husband and asked him, how dare you lie against Hans? This is where the problem is. The husband thinks that all the lies will not be exposed, but he was shocked that the wife is even acting like this in front of him. And at the same time, I wonder why these two are not always, civilized enough to talk to themselves without raising their hands at each other. That is not how this whole thing should be, And Jonathan, listening to the wife, he immediately slapped the wife again and gave her a serious warning never to raise his hand. And immediately the both of them started fighting at the office. You can imagine how a husband and a wife are actually embarrassing themselves at the workplace. Now the question is, what will people say about what you're doing because you're actually doing this in public, And when Hans came out and met the two of them, he was really disappointed and at the same time angry with himself for not coming back early enough to actually, be with Clara because he feels that all that Clara is passing through, he is the reason. If he had come back to be with Clara, Clara would not be passing through all this humiliation, from the husband. For the first time, when they go to the office, Clara was trying to apologize to Hans. But Hans shunned Clara for the first time. And this is exactly what Jonathan wants. He doesn't want Hans to be anywhere close to Clara. And he is actually succeeding because Hans is only trying to make sure that Clara's home is okay. He told her, I didn't call you here to explain yourself or say anything. I called you both here to warn you that this is my workplace. Whatever it is that you people are doing, do it outside my workplace. I don't care about anything. Even when Clara was trying to explain, this is what happens. Hans is getting tired. And you can see how Jonathan is so happy because he's beginning to, achieve all his aim. He is very, very happy that all this is happening. And at the same time, Jonathan was like, are you trying to sack me? Are you sacking me? And Hans said, I am very close to sacking you if you don't stop this nonsense because I'm not going to take it. You can't be doing this in my office. This is my workplace. And Clara ran to, Debbie to complain. Look at what happened. For the first time, I'm seeing so much rage and anger in the eyes of Hans. Hans has not been like this. That means he's really, really upset with what happened. And Debbie was like, what do you expect from a man that gave you everything and a platter of gold? He feels betrayed and all that. You need to look for a way to actually apologize to Hans. And I feel like, yes, this is a good advice coming from Debbie. Clara has to really apologize to Hans because she did not make her findings. She only went there to, slap him, and yell at him for insulting the husband, which is not right. So she has to apologize. Debbie was, trying to convince Clara to take, her there to meet Hans. But I know that if Clara eventually takes Debbie to meet Hans, Debbie will see an opportunity to start talking to Hans, putting bad things in Hans' mind so that Hans will begin to, hate Clara the more. The only thing that I think Debbie is trying to achieve here is to, send Hans away from Clara, and at the same time, send Jonathan, the husband, away from Clara so that Clara can be alone, single just or a single mother just like her. But Clara said, no, I will go alone. I will find my way, to resolve this issue. After all, it is all my issue. I will know how to fix it. So don't worry. I will know what to do. Jonathan shamelessly got home and started yelling at home. And when he got there, he started lying again. This guy is beginning to be a master of lies. He started lying to the mother-in-law that your daughter came to my workplace and humiliated me. She came and was slapping me and slapping me. She almost tore my clothes and all that. Those were all lies. I wonder how Jonathan feels so comfortable lying to his family. What do you intend to gain? You might end up losing your family. They will lose their trust, which is the worst thing that can happen to you. And the daughter came down and was like, Daddy, what happened? He started telling the daughter, your mother came to humiliate me just to defend Hans. Can you imagine? All because I'm trying to work to give you a better life. You see how manipulative Jonathan is. He has succeeded in manipulating Clara's mom, succeeded in manipulating the daughter as well, so that everybody will be, supporting him. They will be supporting him while they hate Clara and see Clara as the one who is doing the bad thing here. Whereas he's the one that will not sit somewhere and allow himself pass through the process. Maybe this was the reason why Jonathan lost everything that he has. After all, he was the big Joe, the one making the whole money. Jonathan was explaining, and the mother was like, I didn't raise my daughter Clara to raise her hands on her husband. That is not my daughter. I didn't raise her to do that to her husband. And at the same time, the daughter was like, Daddy, this is getting too much. How can mommy be slapping you in public? In fact, I'm going to make sure that this never happen again. She immediately started going to the mother's office. And when she got to the office where the mom was, the mother was actually trying to take order for her business. And she started, Mommy, how shameless can you be? How can you go there and humiliate your husband in public? How dare you go there to slap your husband in public just to please another man? And Clara at this point was like, is this my daughter talking to me? She's doing the same thing. Because your husband, Jonathan, has also succeeded in manipulating her, turning her against you. And she was like, have you lost it? Are you crazy? How dare you talk to me like that? And you say, how dare you go about slapping daddy, and insulting him? And the mother was like, you are complaining of me talking to my husband, but that is the same thing you are doing. And she said, yes, I have every right to do that. And I have every right to have issues with my husband. So you and my daughter, you don't have to come in between. And at the same time, the daughter was like, no, I am not against you having issues with your husband, but you cannot go about slapping daddy in public. That is not going to happen. And I'm not even going to let you do that anymore. Clara is really in big trouble. That everybody around her is against her. What is she going to do? Is this going to cause her depression? And she said, Mommy, I think you are allowing this to get to your head because you know that I love you and I'll always be here for you. But I'll meet you at home. You can imagine your own daughter threatening you. Clara is really in trouble. She's in trouble. When Clara got home, she met the mom and Jonathan at home waiting for her return. Immediately she entered the house, the mother started, where are you coming back from? It is late. Where are you coming back from? And Clara said, I'm just coming back from the shop. I'm coming back from the office. I've been working. And she said, is that the same job that you went about doing, that you insulted your husband, you left your job to your husband's office just to slap him in front of people? Are you crazy? Is that how I raised you? Now, here is the problem, yeah. Jonathan is always looking for people to support him, even when he's wrong. But the fact is that they don't even know. They just believe him because he is always acting corny. And Jonathan said, yes, that is it. She started telling her everything. But when she explained her own side of the story to the mother refused to believe because Jonathan made everything very much believable. It is very, very difficult. It will be so difficult for Clara to convince the mother at this point because Jonathan has already caused the damage. And Clara said, right now I can take care of myself. I can buy what I want to buy. I am okay. I'm no longer depending on Jonathan. I can do something for myself. So Jonathan should go out there and get a job so that he can take care of his family and leave me alone. Hanks was talking to the mom and was like, Mommy, this is my first time of yelling at Clara. And that is, I yell at Clara not because I was angry, but out of love. And I blame myself for all this. And the mother told him, look here, the only thing you can do to save this situation is to sack Jonathan, which is the right thing to do at this point. If you sack Jonathan, Jonathan will go out there to look for a job. Then he will understand that you are only trying to help. But it's so unfortunate that Hans is so much in love with Clara that he feels that sacking Jonathan will hurt Clara and he doesn't want that for Clara. So what is he going to do? We'll find out about it on the next episode. Please like the video if you have not liked the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'll bring the next episode as soon as you drop. But for now,